As an interior designer, this is one thing I wish I had known when I started my company, which is not to take in as many subcon as possible that the client introduces into the job. There's always a case when the client comes to tell you that, hey, look, I know someone who does the electrical works. I know someone who provides the aircon works. I know someone who does the tiling work. Could you work with them? And there'll be like all really nice conversation going on telling you, hey, I understand that, this is going to take up certain margin from your end, but this is someone that I used to work with and I'm really happy to work with them again. So is it possible that you work with them for this project and manage them on my behalf? Of course, they would certainly find that their rates are a lot better than ours because they don't do design. They're just subcontractors working on their trade alone. So us being very accommodating as much as we can just because we wanted the job so badly, we gave it. We gave in, telling them that, hey, no problem, these are some of the indication that will happen because we are not able to manage the job on behalf of you because we don't know how their work experiences are, the way of working, the timeline, and we would wish that we are not held accountable for the works that they do. But what we can do is we provide the schedule and timeline for the entire project, and they take it off and try to work closely with us on site, come to site as often as possible to get things done up. But 10 out of 10 times, we gave in and things really spiraled down. Pitfall after pitfall of the project, missing deadlines, and it created so much friction in the project that affects the relationship of ours with the client. As much as we wanted to give in to tell them that, hey, look, they might be saving 10-20% on the trade itself. It could be a 50,000 electrical job, but if they go with their guy, they could be paying for only 40,000. Some of the clients even go as far as going to Taobao or go to China and ship in their own lighting and appliances just to get that exact model that they want. But with this whole situation being panned out, we are at the very losing end because of how we were brought in as a designer and hence taking up the main construction package. So there was an instant where we were told that the project budget was 800,000. We work around it, work on the design, and of course we hope to get as much as possible. End of the day, we got 350,000 of the 800,000. Well, setting aside monetary terms, we've put in equal amount of attention, producing drawings, spending amount of time doing site management, because we can't exactly say that we gotta charge you for site management fee, because initially we didn't charge. We were intended to take up the entire project package. But now, because we are taking sort of a portion of the package and we are the designers, we have to look after your guys, especially the guys of M&E, plaster ceiling, aircon. Well, these are real crucial work because you got to work very closely with the main contractor where the wet work happens. And problems poured in. You have instances where they hack off the wall for the wiring. The casing was laid out, but there was no wiring put in for almost 2 weeks. And we had to wait for it until they can close up the wall and we can pull in our painters to paint up the wall. And sometimes they start working in the kitchen, halfway through, they jump to the front living room to work on. And probably sometimes they don't come to site, and then sometimes they only come with 1 or 2 workers. So how is that gonna be beneficial to the client? Absolutely not. Because end of the day, we are the ones who have constant communication with the client, and we were told to push through the project. And despite sending emails to the client telling that, hey, look, we can't be accountable because we are only taking a small portion of the entire project scope. However, despite all the paperwork and all the black and white being laid out, we are still being put in the spotlight for not producing or managing it well for the client. And this is a chasm and a situation where it's really, really hard for you to get out of it. Because as much as we put out to the client saying that, hey, look, we've already mentioned to you, we've already pushed as much as we can to your subcons, but they are not performing, they are not working. So what exactly can we do here to help you and assist you to getting this job done? It's a very difficult and sticky conversation to carry out. Always the same, always the case. Here's the second scenario. We took up a project and had to work with several different subcons, and turns out to be one of the subcon turned out to be the partner of the client, and obviously he should be very much held accountable to the entire timeline and the delivery of the aircons. Think about it. It's a 5,000 square feet restaurant. It took him 4 entire weeks to set up the air conducting and the FCU, the fan coil unit, up 4 weeks. Typically, we are only given 1.5 months, which is 6 weeks, to start the construction and complete the entire construction. 4 weeks gone just to aircon. We couldn't get our guys in. Shipment got delayed. We have to hold up a lot of orders, and some of the materials couldn't be delivered because they just ran out of stock because we didn't get the stuff in. And bottom line, end of the day, the client told us, look, I still gotta have it open on the 15th of December. What are you gonna do? Make this happen for me. And again, because we are the main con, we may not be the designer, but we were being held gunpoint at us as much as we try to Tai Chi this away, push this to others, made known of the situation, but it just couldn't get us out of the problem. So this is one of the biggest mistakes or some of the biggest lessons that I've learned throughout managing a project. I find it obnoxious and almost lancy in a way to put it out there to tell client, hey, look, if you're not giving me the entire construction project, we are not going to do it for you. Because ultimately, we will try to help. So this is something that triggered me to start thinking in our contracts, we would lay out how important it is to have some of the main contracts being held under our wings so that we can manage the entire timeline for you. Because it's not the same as large construction projects. Large construction projects, if there are any delays or any pitfall being caused by any parties, you could track it back. There's a possible way to trace it back. But when you're working in such a small project, 500,000, 1 million, 1.5 million, it's very time consuming and it's not worth the resources to let us go through this whole conversation. And it's pretty much non-constructive, non-effective, and it's very unproductive. So this is one thing that I've learned throughout the years, that if there's a chance to take up the entire project and work entirely under your scope, we would want to do that. Because for the sake of clients, this is not going to be beneficial if you start pulling scope of work out. And when we gave you the quotation first place, it was meant for an 800k job. It's not for a 350k job. So the rates are definitely tweaked down, pulled down to meet your budget. But when you start pulling things out of the package and we still have to honor the same rates, it's gonna be very, very difficult to fulfill because we still gotta put out the same resources out there. And all this is just like a chicken and egg debate all over again. So bottom line is, as far as with managed projects, retail and whatnot, we are very wary of timeline not being met, caused by multiple parties. I wouldn't say that we are the best at managing our schedule and timeline, but at least if these subcontractors are under our wings, we can whip, we can pull out the carrot, and we can manage more things from our end. Now, if we are not managing it, we instead have to complain and whine to the client about who's not doing their work and whatnot. So it gets really, really petty. So here's a little 2 cents that I like to share and one of the journeys that we've gone through in the design and construction line. And this is one thing I wish I had known earlier. So comment down below what you think about it, and are there any other ways that we could mitigate this? Do share in the comments, and see you soon.